turn the tide. Let the water go where it wants to go. You can run and hide. You can bury yourself beneath the stone. Somebody told me don't pretend, 'cause everyone could use a friend sometimes. Take some good advice. Don't let your fear decide. That's how you break inside. You don't need to worry. Somebody's waiting down the line to pick up the pieces. Hey, you'll be alright. I can feel the sun and how the wind makes way across the fields. Let me take a breath. Let me be a part of something real. Someone said it's better when you hold on to a helping hand. Sometimes we could all use a friend. Don't let your fear decide. That's how you break inside. You don't need to worry. Somebody's waiting down the line to pick up the pieces. Hey, good overthinking things that I shouldn't. You come across as a cool guy, someone who's the opposite. And all my friends are leaving, but I wanna stay here. Can we just stay here? Maybe just one more drink. I can't help but think, where have you been? All my life, all lonely nights. You were always there at the same damn bar. I just never looked your way. And I've seen every ocean, but I've never seen a color blue. Look into your eyes. When I'm nervous, I talk too much and overshare things. Yeah, I can be a fucking mess, but you somehow like me for me. And all your friends are wasted. You wanna stay here? Oh, we should just stay here. Maybe just for one more drink. I can't help but think, where have you been? All my life, all lonely nights. You were always there at the same damn bar. I just never looked your way. And I've seen every ocean, but I've never seen a color blue. Look into your eyes. Where have you been? All my life, all the lonely nights. You were always there at the same damn bar. I just never looked your way. And I've seen every ocean, but I've never seen a color blue. Look into your eyes.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars. Maybe the birds will sing about your heart. Maybe the trees will whisper the word. Maybe the sun will spread your joy to the